Act 1 of The Honeymoon by John Tobin. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org.
Dramatis persona.
Duke of Aranza, read by Greg Giordano.
Count Montalban, read by Scotty Smith.
Captain Rolando, read by Todd.
Senor Balthazar, read by Larry Wilson.
Lempedo, an apothecary, read by Beeswax Candle.
Lopez, a rustic, read by Adrian Stevens.
Campillo, read by Jim Hedrick.
J. Keys, Servant to the Duke, read by Alan Mapstone.
Olmedo, Servant to Balthazar, read by Inkel.
Pedro, read by David Purdy.
Juliana, daughter of Balthazar, read by Kelly Taylor.
Volante, read by Alicia.
Zamora, read by Matea Bracic.
Hostess, read by Agnes Robert Bear.
Stage directions, read by Alan. Act 1, Scene 1. A street in Madrid. Into Duke and Montalban. Left, followed by a servant. He crosses behind to right. Duke, speaking to servant.
This letter you will give my steward. This to my old tenant Lopez. Use dispatch, sir. Your negligence may ruin an affair which I have much at heart.
Exit servant, right.
Why, how now, Count? You look but dull upon my wedding day, nor show the least reflection of that joy which breaks from me, and should light up my friend.
Count, left.
If I could set my features to my tongue, I'd give your highness joy. Still, as a friend whose expectation lags behind his hopes, I wish you happy.
You shall see me so. Is not the lady I have chosen fair?
Nay, she is beautiful.
Of a right age.
In the fresh prime of youth and bloom of womanhood.
A well-proportioned form and noble presence.
True.
Then her wit. Her wit is admirable.
There is a passing shrillness in her voice.
Has she not wit?
A sharp-edged tongue, I own, but uses it as bravos do their swords, not for defence, but mischief. Then her gentleness. You had almost forgot to speak of that.
Ah, there you touch me. Yet though she is prouder than the vexed ocean at his topmost height, and every breeze will chafe her to a storm, I love her still the better. Some prefer smoothly o'er an unwrinkled sea to glide, others to ride the cloud-aspiring waves, and hear amid the rending tackles roar the spirit of an equinoctial gale. What though a patient and enduring lover, like a tame spaniel that with crouching eye beats buffets and caresses, I have taken with humble thanks her kindness and her scorn. Yet when I am her husband, she shall feel I was not born to be a woman's slave. Can you be secret?
Crosses left.
You have found me so in matters of some moment.
Listen, then. I have prepared a penance for her pride, to which a cell and sackcloth, and the toils of a barefooted pilgrimage were pastime. As yet she knows me, as I truly am, the Duke Aranza, in which character I have fed high her proud and soaring fancy, with the descriptions of my states and fortunes, my princely mansions, my delicious gardens, my carriages, my servants, and my pomp. Now mark the contrast. In the very height and fullest pride of her ambitious hopes, I take her to a miserable hut. All things are well digested for the purpose, where, throwing off the title of a duke, I will appear to her a low-born peasant. There, with coarse raiment, household drudgery, laborious exercise, and cooling viands, I will so lower her distempered blood, and tame the devil in her, that, before we have burnt out our happy honeymoon, She, like a well-trained hawk, shall, at my whistle, quit her high flights and perch upon my finger, to wait my bidding.
Crosses right.
Most excellent. A plot of rare invention.
When, with a bold hand, I have weeded out the rank growth of her pride, she'll be a garden, lovely in blossom, rich in fruit, till then an unpruned wilderness. But to your business, how thrives your suit with her fair sister, Count?
The best advancement I can boast of in it is that it goes not backward. She's a riddle, which he that solved the Sphinx would die guessing. If I but mention love, she starts away, and wards the subject off with so much skill, that whether she be hurt or tickled most, her looks leave doubtful. Yet I fondly think she keeps me, as the plover of her nest fearful misleads the traveller, from the point where live her warmest wishes, that are breathed for me in secret.
You've her father's voice?
Yes, and we have concerted that this evening, instead of Friar Dominic, her confessor, who from his pious office is disabled by sudden sickness, I should visit her, and as her mind's physician, feel the pulse of her affection.
May you quickly find her love to you the worst of her offences, for then her absolution will be certain. Farewell. I see Rolando. He is a common railer against women, and on my wedding day I will hear none blaspheme the sex. Besides, as once he failed in the same suit that I have thriven in, 'twill look like triumph. 'Tis a grievous pity he follows them with such a settled spleen, for he has noble qualities.
Most rare ones. A happy wit and independent spirit.
And he is brave too.
Of as tried a courage as ever walked up to the roaring throats of a deep-ranged artillery, and planted midst fire and smoke upon an enemy's wall, the standard of his country.
Farewell, Count.
Success attend your schemes.
Fortune crown yours.
Exit left. Enter Rolando. Left.
Signor Rolando, you seem melancholy.
As an old cat in the mumps, I met 3 women. I marvel much they suffer them to walk loose in the streets, whilst other untamed monsters are kept in cages. 3 loud-talking women. They were discoursing of the newest fashions, and their tongue went like... I have since been thinking what most that active member of a woman of mortal things resembles.
Have you found it?
Not exactly. Something like a smoke-jack, for it goes ever without winding up. But that wears out in time. There fails the simile. Next I bethought me of a water-mill, but that stands still on Sundays. Women's tongue needs no reviving Sabbath. And besides, a mill, to give it motion, waits for grist. Now, whether she has aught to say or no, a woman's tongue will go for exercise. In short, I came to this conclusion. Most earthly things have their similitudes, but woman's tongue is yet incomparable. Was not the Duke that left you?
'Twas.
He saw me, and hurried off.
Aye, 'twas most wise of him to shun the bitter flowing of your gall. You know he's on the brink of matrimony.
Why now, in reason, what can he expect to marry such a woman? A thing so closely packed with her own pride, she has no room for any thought of him. Why, she ne'er threw a word of kindness at him, but when she quarrelled with her monkey. Then, as he, with knightly minstrelsy, doled out a lying ballad to her peerless beauty, unto his whining lute, and at each turn sighed like a pevier, the kind lady, sir, would lift the casement up to laugh at him, and vanish like a shooting star, whilst he, like an astronomer in an eclipse, stood gazing on the spot whence she departed. Then, stealing home, went supperless to bed, and fed all night upon her apparition. Now, Rather than espouse a thing like this, I'd wed a bear that never learned to dance, though her first hug were mortal.
Peace, Rolando. You rail at women as priests cry down pleasure, who, for the penance which they do their tongues, give ample license to their appetites. Come, come, however you may mask your nature, I know that secret pulses of your heart beat towards them still. The woman-hater! Pshaw! A young and handsome fellow, and a brave one.
Go on.
Had I a sister, mother, nay, grandam, I'd no more trust her in a corner with thee than cream within the whiskers of a cat.
Right. I should beat her. You are very right. I have a sneaking kindness for the sex. And could I meet a reasonable woman, fair without vanity, rich without pride, discreet though witty, learned, yet very humble, that has no ear for flattery, no tongue for scandal, one who never reads romances, who loves to listen better than to talk, and rather than be gadding would sit quiet, I'd marry, certainly. You shall find two such, and we'll both wed together.
You are merry. Where shall we dine together?
Not today.
Nay, I insist.
Oh, where shall I meet you, then?
Here at the Mermaid.
I don't like the sign. A mermaid is half woman.
Pshaw, Rolando. You strain this humour beyond sense or measure.
Well, on condition that we're very private, and that we drink no toast that's feminine, I'll waste some time with you.
Agreed.
Enter Zamora left, disguised as Eugenio.
Go on, then. I will but give directions to my page, and follow you.
A pretty smooth-faced boy.
The lad is handsome, and for one so young, save that his heart would flutter at a drum, and he would rather eat his sword than draw it, he is the noblest youth in Christendom. When before Tunis I got well scratched for leaping on the walls too nimbly, that same boy attended me. 'Twould bring an honest tear into thine eye to tell thee how, for 10 days, without sleep and almost nourishment, he waited on me, cheered the dull time by reading merry tales, and when my festering body smarted most, sweeter than a fond mother's lullaby over her peevish child, he sung to me, that the soft cadence of his dying tones dropped like an early balsam on my wounds, and breathed a healing influence throughout me. But this is womanish. Order our dinner, and I'll be with you presently.
I will not fail.
Exit Count, right. Zamora comes forward, left.
The wars are ended, boy.
I'm glad of that, sir.
You should be sorry if you love your master.
Then I am very sorry.
We must part, boy.
Part?
I am serious.
Nay, you cannot mean it. Have I been idle, sir, or negligent? Saucy, I'm sure I have not. If aught else, it is my first fault. Chide me gently for it, nay, heavily, but do not say we part.
I'm a disbanded soldier, without pay, fit only now, with rusty swords and helmets, to hang up in the armory till the wars new burnish me again. So poor, indeed, I can but leanly cater for myself, much less provide for thee.
Let not that divides us, sir. The thought of how I fared never yet troubled me, and shall not now. Indeed, I never followed you for hire, but for the simple and the pure delight of serving such a master. If we must part, let me wear out my service by degrees. Today, amidst some sweet and sacred duty, some dearer one tomorrow. Slowly thus my nature may be weaned from her delight. But suddenly to quit you, sir, I cannot. I should go broken-hearted.
Pshaw, those tears. Well, we'll talk of this some other day. I dine with Count Montalban at the Mermaid. In the meantime, go and amuse yourself with what is worthiest note in this famed city. But hark, Eugenio, 'tis a wicked place. You'll meet, for they are weeds of every soil, abundance here of women. Keep aloof, for they are like the smooth but brittle ice that tempts the unpractised urchin to his ruin. They are like comets to be wondered at, but not approached. Go not within their reach.
Exit right.
Doubt me not, sir. What a hard fate is mine, to follow thus with love a gentleman that scorns my sex, and swears no great or noble quality ever yet lived in woman. When I read to him the story of Lucretia, or of Portia, or other glorious dame, or some rare virgin who, crossed in love, has died, mid peals of laughter, he praises the invention of the writer, or, growing angry, bids me shut the book, nor with such dull lies wear his patience out. What opposition has a maid like me to turn the headstrong current of his spleen? For though he sets off with a lavish tongue my humble merits, thinking me a boy, yet should I stand before his jaundiced sight a woman, all that now is fair in me might turn to ugliness, all that is good appear the smooth gloss of hypocrisy. Yet I must venture the discovery, though 'tis a fearful hazard. This perplexity of hopes and fears makes up too sad a life. I will, or lose him quite, or be his wife.
Exit left. Scene 2. A room in Belshazzar's house. Enter Belshazzar and Volente, left.
Not yet apparelled.
'Tis her wedding day, sir. On such occasions women claim some grace.
How bears she the coming of her greatness?
Bravely, sir. Instead of the high honors that await her, I think that were she now to be enthroned, she would become her coronation. For when she has adjusted some stray lock, or fixed at last some sparkling ornament, she views her beauty with collected pride, musters her whole soul in her eyes, and says,
Crosses right.
Look I not like an empress? Oh, but she comes.
Enter Juliana in her wedding dress, right.
Well, sir, what think you? Do I to the life appear a duchess, or will people say she does but poorly play a part which nature never designed her for? But where's the Duke?
Not come yet.
How? Not come? The Duke not come?
Patience, sweet sister. Oft without a murmur it has been his delight to wait for you.
It was his duty. Man was born to wait on woman, and attend her sovereign pleasure. This tardiness upon his wedding day is but a sorry sample of obedience.
Obedience, girl?
Aye, sir, obedience.
Why, what a wire-drawn puppet you will make the man you marry. I suppose ere long you'll choose how oft he shall walk abroad for recreation, fix his diet for him, bespeak his clothes, and say on what occasions he may put on his finest suit.
Proceed.
Crosses right.
Keep all the keys, and when he bids his friends, mete out a modicum of wine to each. Had you not better put him in a livery at once, and let him stand behind your chair? Why, I would rather wed a man of dough, such as some schoolgirl, when the pie is made, to amuse her childish fancy, kneads out a hazard out of the remnant paste, a paper man cut by a baby. Heavens preserve me from that dull blessing. An obedient husband.
And make you an obedient wife, a thing for lordly man to vent his humours on, a dull domestic drudge to be abused? If you think so, my dear, and as you please, and you know best, even when he nothing knows, I have no patience. That a free-born woman should sink the high tone of her noble nature down to a slavish whisper for that compound of frail mortality they call a man, and give her charter up to make a tyrant.
You talk it most heroically. Pride may be a proper bait to catch a lover, but trust me, daughter, It will not hold the husband.
Leave that to me. And what should I have caught if I had fished with your humility? Some pert apprentice, or a rich citizen, who would have bought me, some poor gentleman, whose high patrician blood would have descended to wed a painter's daughter, and her ducats. I felt my value, and still kept aloof, nor stopped my eye till I had met the man, picked from all Spain to be my husband, girl. And him I have so managed that he feels I have conferred an honour on his house by coyly condescending to be his.
Crosses left.
He comes.
Knocking right.
Smooth your brow, sister.
For a man, he must be one not made of mortal clay, then.
Right. Enter 4 attendants first, the Duke second. The attendants remain on right.
Oh, you are come, sir? I have waited for you. Is this your gallantry? At such a time, too?
I do entreat your pardon, if you knew the pressing cause.
Let me entreat for him.
Come, girl, be kind.
Well, sir, you are forgiven.
You are all goodness. Let me on this hand.
Crosses, taking her hand, which she withdraws.
Not yet, sir. 'Tis a virgin hand as yet, and my own property. Forbear a while, and with this humble person 'twill be yours.
Exquisite modesty. Come, let us on. All things are waiting for the ceremony, and, till you grace it, Hymen's wasting torch burns dim and sickly. Come, my Juliana.
Duke offers Juliana his hand. She refuses and crosses right. Belshazzar, bowing to the Duke, passes him, leading Juliana off. Duke goes next. Attendants follow. Lively music. Exit right. End of Act 1. Act 2 of The Honeymoon by John Tobin. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 2. Scene 1. A cottage. Table and 2 chairs. Door on, at first exit left. Enter the Duke, leading in Juliana, left. Duke brings a chair forward, center, and sits down.
You are welcome home.
Juliana crosses right.
Home? You are merry. This retired spot would be a palace for an owl.
'Tis ours.
Aye, for the time we stay in it.
By heaven, this is the noble mansion that I spoke of.
This? You are not in earnest, though you bear it with such a sombre brow. Come, come, you jest.
Indeed, I jest not. Were it ours in jest, we should have none, wife.
Are you serious, sir?
I swear, as I am your husband, and no duke.
No duke?
But of my own creation, lady.
I am betrayed. Nay, do not play the fool. It is too keen a joke.
You'll find it true.
You are no duke, then?
None.
Juliana, aside.
Have I been cozened? And have you no estate, sir? Nor palaces, nor houses?
None but this, a small, snug dwelling, and in good repair.
Nor money, nor effects?
None that I know of.
And the attendants who have waited on us?
They were my friends, who, having done my business, are gone about their own.
Juliana, aside.
Why, then, 'tis clear that I was ever born. What are you, sir?
Duke rises.
I am an honest man, that may content you. Young nor ill-favoured, shall not that content you? I am your husband, and that must content you.
I will go home.
Going left.
You are at home already.
Staying her.
I'll not endure it. But remember this, Duke or no Duke, I'll be a duchess, sir.
Crosses left.
A duchess? You shall be a queen, to all who, by the courtesy, will call you so.
And I will have attendants.
So you shall, when you have learnt to wait upon yourself.
To wait upon myself. Must I bear this? I could tear out my eyes, that bade you woo me, and bite my tongue in two for saying yes.
Crosses right.
And if you should, 'twould grow again, I think, to be an honest yeoman's wife. For such my would-be duchess you will find me. You were cut out by nature.
You will find, then, that education, sir, has spoilt me for it. Why, do you think I'll work?
I think 'twill happen, wife.
What? Rub and scrub your noble palace clean?
These taper fingers will do it daintily.
And dress your victuals, if there be any? Oh, I could go mad!
Crosses left.
And mend my hose, and darn my nightcaps neatly. Wait, like an echo, till you're spoken to.
Or, like a clock, talk only once an hour.
Or like a dial, for that quietly performs its work, and never speaks at all.
To feed your poultry and your hogs? Oh, monstrous! And when I stir abroad on great occasions, carry a squeaking tithe pig to the vicar, or jolt with higglers' wives the market trot to sell your eggs and butter.
Crosses left.
Excellent! How well you sum the duties of a wife. Why, what a blessing I shall have in you.
A blessing?
When they talk of you and me, Darby and Joan shall no more be remembered. We shall be happy.
Shall we?
Wondrous happy. Oh, you will make an admirable wife.
I'll make a devil.
What?
A very devil.
Oh, no, we'll have no devils.
I'll not bear it. I'll to my father's.
Gently, you forget. You are a perfect stranger to the road.
My wrongs will find a way, or make one.
Softly. You stir not hence except to take the air, and then I'll breathe it with you.
What, confine me?
'Twould be unsafe to trust you yet abroad.
Am I a truant schoolboy?
Nay, not so. But you must keep your bounds.
And if I break them, perhaps you'll beat me.
Beat you? The man that lays his hand upon a woman, save in the way of kindness, is a wretch, whom 'twere gross flattery to name a coward. I'll talk to you, lady, but not beat you.
Well, if I may not travel to my father, I may write to him surely, and I will, if I meet within your spacious dukedom 3 such unhoped-for miracles at once, as pens and ink and paper.
You will find them in the next room. A word before you go. You are my wife, by every tie that's sacred, the partner of my fortune and my bed.
Your fortune?
Peace! No fooling, idle woman. Beneath the attesting eye of heaven, I've sworn to love, to honor, cherish, and protect you. No human power can part us. What remains, then? To fret and worry and torment each other, and give a keener edge to our hard fate by sharp upbraidings and perpetual jars? Or, like a loving and a patient pair, waked from a dream of grandeur, to depend upon their daily labor for support? to soothe the taste of fortune's lowliness, with sweet consent and mutual fond endearment. Now to your chamber, write whatever you please, but pause before you stain the spotless paper with words that may inflame, but cannot heal.
Why, what a patient worm you take me for!
I took you for a wife, and ere I've done, I'll know you for a good one.
You shall know me for a right woman, full of her own sex, who, when she suffers wrong, will speak her anger, who feels her own prerogative and scorns by the proud reason of superior man to be taught patience when her swelling heart cries out revenge.
Exit at door on centre.
Why, let the flood rage on. There is no tide in woman's wildest passion, but hath an ebb. I've broken the ice, however. Write to her father. She may write a folio, but if she send it, 'twill divert her spleen. The flow of ink may save her blood-letting. Perchance else she may have fits. They are seldom mortal, save when the doctor's sent for. Though I have heard some husbands say, and wisely, a woman's honor is her safest guard. Yet there's some virtue in the lock and key.
Locks the door.
So, thus begins our honeymoon. 'Tis well. But the first fortnight, ruder than March winds, shall blow a hurricane. The next, perhaps, like April, she may wear a changeful face of storm and sunshine. And, when that is past, she will break glorious as unclouded May, and where the thorns grew bare, the spreading blossoms meet with no lagging frost to kill their sweetness, whilst others, for a month's delirious joy, by a dull age of penance, we may more wisely taste first the wholesome bitter of the cup, that after to the very lees shall relish, and to the close of this frail life prolong the pure delights of a well-governed marriage.
Exit right. Scene 2. Belshazzar's house. Enter Belshazzar, followed by the Count, disguised as a friar.
These things premised, you have my full consent to try my daughter's humour. But observe me, sir, I will use no compulsion with my child. If I had tendered thus her sister Zamora, I should not now have mourned a daughter lost.
Enter Volante left.
What is your pleasure?
Know this holy man.
Introducing the Count to her.
It is the Father Confessor I spoke of. Though he looks young, in all things which respect his sacred function, he is deeply learned.
Volante aside.
It is the Count.
I leave you to his guidance.
Crosses right.
To his examination and free censure, commit your actions and your private thoughts.
I shall observe, sir.
Exit. Belshazzar right. Aside.
Nay, 'tis he, I'll swear.
The Count aside.
Pray heaven she don't suspect me. Well, young lady, have you heard your father's commands?
Yes. And now he has left us alone. What are we to do?
I am to listen, and you are to confess.
What? And then you are to confess, and I am to listen?
Aside.
Oh, I'll take care you shall do penance, though.
Pshaw.
Well, but when am I to confess?
Your sins, daughter, your sins.
What? All of them?
Only the great ones.
The great ones? Oh, you must learn those of my neighbors, whose business it is, like yours, to confess everybody's sins but their own. If now you would be content with a few trifling peccadilloes, I would own them to you with all the frankness of an author who gives his reader the paltry errata of the press, but leave him to find out all the capital blunders of the work itself.
Nay, lady, this is trifling. I am in haste.
In haste? Then suppose I confess my virtues. You shall have the catalogue of them in a single breath.
Nay, then I must call your father.
Why then, to be serious, if you will tell me of any very enormous offences which I may be lately committed, I shall have no objection in the word to acknowledge them to you.
It is publicly reported, daughter, that you are in love.
So, are you there?
Aside.
That I am in love?
With a man?
Why? What should a woman be in love with?
You interrupt me, lady. A young man?
I'm not in love with an old one, certainly. But is love a crime, father?
Heaven forbid.
Why, then, you have nothing to do with it.
Aye, but the concealing it is a crime.
Oh, the concealing it is a crime.
Of the first magnitude.
Why, then, I confess...
Well, what?
That the Count Montalban...
Go on.
Is...
Proceed.
Desperately in love with me.
Pshaw! That's not the point.
Well, I'm coming to it. And not being able in his own person to learn the state of my affection has taken the benefit of clergy and assumed the disguise of a friar.
Discovered.
You are but a young masquerader, or you wouldn't have left your visor at home. Come, Count, pull off your lion's apparel and confess yourself an ass.
Count takes off the friar's gown.
Nay, Volante, hear me.
Not a step nearer. The snake is still dangerous, though he cast his skin. I believe you are the first lover on record that ever attempted to gain the affection of his mistress by discovering her faults. Now, if you had found out more virtues in my mind than there will ever be room for, and more charms in my person than ever my looking-glass can create, why then, indeed.
What then?
Then I might have confessed what it's now impossible I can ever confess. And so farewell, my noble Count Confessor.
Exit left.
Farewell. And when I've hit upon the longitude and plumbed the yet unfathomed ocean, I'll make another venture for thy love. Here comes her father. I'll be fooled no longer.
Enter Belshazzar, right.
Well, sir, how thrive you?
E'en as I deserve. Your daughter has discovered, mocked at, and left me.
Yet I've another scheme.
What is it?
My daughter, being a lover of my art, of late has vehemently urged to see your portrait, which now 'tis finished, I stand pledged she shall go to the picture-room, and stand there concealed. Here is the key. I'll send my daughter straight, and if, as we suspect, her heart leans towards you, in some unguarded gesture, speech, or action, her love will suddenly break out. Away!
Count crosses right.
I hear her coming.
There's some hope in this.
Exit Count right.
It shall do wonders. Hence.
Enter Volante left.
What, is he gone, sir?
Gone. Do you think the man is made of marble? Yes, he's gone.
Forever?
Aye, forever.
Alas, poor Count. Or has he only left you to study some new character? Pray tell me, what will he next appear in?
This is folly. 'Tis time to call your wanton spirits home. You are too wild of speech.
My thoughts are free, sir, and those I utter.
Far too quickly, girl. Your shrewdness is a scarecrow to your beauty.
It will fright none but fools, sir. Men of sense must naturally admire in us a quality they most value in themselves. A blockhead only protests against the wit of a woman because he cannot answer her drafts upon his understanding. But now we talk of the Count. Don't you remember your promise, sir?
Aside.
What promise, girl?
That I should see your picture of him.
So you shall, when you can treat the original with a little more respect.
Nay, sir, a promise.
Well, you'll find the door open.
Volante crosses right.
But before you go, tell me honestly, how do you like the Count? his person, and understanding.
Why, as to his person, I don't think he's handsome enough to pine himself to death for his own shadow, like the youth in the fountain, nor yet so ugly as to be frightened to dissolution if he should look at himself in a glass. Then as to his understanding, he's hardly wit enough to pass for a madman, nor yet so little as to be taken for a fool. In short, sir, I think the Count is very well worth any young woman's contemplation when she has no better earthly thing to think about.
Runs off right.
So the glad bird that flutters from the net, grown wanton with the thought of his escape, flies to the limed bush, and there is caught. I'll steal and watch their progress.
Exit right. Scene 3. The picture room. The Count discovered concealing himself behind his portrait. Into Volante right.
Confess that I love the Count. A woman may do a more foolish thing than to fall in love with such a man, and a wiser one than to tell him of it.
Looks at the picture.
'Tis very like him. The hair is a shade too dark, and rather too much complexion for a despairing inamorato. Confess that I love him. Now there is only his picture. I'll see if I can't play the confessor a little better than he did.
She advances in center of the stage to speak the following. The Count comes forward from behind the picture and listens.
Daughter, they tell me you're in love. Well, father, there's no harm in speaking the truth. With the Count Montauban, daughter? Father, you are not a confessor, but a conjurer. They add, moreover, that you have named the day for your marriage. There, father, you are misinformed, for like a discreet maiden, I have left that for him to do. Then he should throw off his disguise. I should gaze at him with astonishment. He should open his arms while I sink gently into them.
Count catches her in his arms.
The Count!
Into Belshazzar. Right, UE.
My father, too. Nay, then I am fairly hunted into the toil. There, take my hand, Count, while I am free to give it.
Enter Almedo. With a letter. Right.
A letter, sir.
Exit. Right.
From Juliana.
Opens the letter. Volante center.
Well, what says she, sir?
Count left.
This will spoil all.
Aside.
It bears untoward news? Is she not well, sir?
Belshazzar right.
'Tis not that.
What then, sir? See how he knits his brow.
Here must be throats cut.
What moves you thus, sir?
That would stir a statue. Your friend's a villain, sir.
Crosses to the Count.
Read it out. And you, if I mistake not, are another.
What can this mean?
Peace. Hear him read the letter.
Count reads.
Dearest father, I am deceived, betrayed, insulted. The man whom I have married is no duke.
No duke?
I'll be revenged. Read, sir, read.
Count reads.
He has neither fortune, family, nor friends.
You must have known all this, sir. But proceed.
Count reads.
He keeps me prisoner here in a miserable hovel, from whence, unless I am speedily rescued by your interference, you may never hear more of your forlorn, abused Juliana.
What answer you to this, sir?
Nothing.
How?
'Tis plain you are a partner in the trick that robbed a doting father of his child.
Suspend your anger but a few short days, and you shall find, though now a mystery involves my friend.
A mystery? What mystery? There are no mysteries in honest men. What mystery, I say, can salve this conduct? Is he a duke?
I cannot answer that.
Crosses right.
Then he's a villain.
Nay, upon my soul, he means you fairly, honourably, nobly.
I will away tonight, Olmedo. Perez, get my horses. You have some mystery too, sir. But ere I set my sole surviving hope on such an hazard, I'll look into your countship's pedigree, and for your noble, honourable Duke, I'll travel night and day until I reach him, and he shall find I am not yet so old but that my blood will flame at such an insult, and my sword leap into my grasp. Believe me, I will have full revenge.
You shall.
I will, sir, and speedily.
Proceed then on your journey. With your good leave, I'll bear you company. And as the traveller, perplexed awhile in the benighting mazes of a forest, breaks on a champaign country smooth and level, and sees the sunshine glorious, so shall you, sir, behold a bright close and a golden end to this now dark adventure.
Go, my father.
You speak in riddles, sir, yet you speak fairly.
And if I speak not truly, may my hope in this fair treasure be extinct forever.
Then quickly meet us here, prepared for travel. If from the cloud that overhangs us now such light shall break as you have boldly promised, my daughter and my blessing still are yours, sir.
Blessed in that word, I quit you.
Exit right.
Come, girl.
Crosses right.
This shall be sifted thoroughly. Till then you must remain a fresh, ungathered flower.
Well, sir, I am not yet so overblown, but I may hang some time upon the tree and still be worth the plucking.
Exit left. Scene 4. The cottage. Table chair. Enter the Duke, right, in a peasant's dress. He unlocks the door in flat.
She hath composed a letter, and what's worse, contrived to send it by a village boy that passed the window. Yet she now appears profoundly penitent. It cannot be. 'Tis a conversion too miraculous. Her cold disdain yields with too free a spirit, like ice which, melted by unnatural heat, not by the gradual and kindly thaw of the resolving elements, give it air, will straight congeal again. She comes. I'll try her.
Enter Juliana in a peasant's dress, through the door in front.
Why, what's the matter now?
That foolish letter.
What? You repent of having written it?
I do indeed. I could cut off my fingers for being partners in the act.
No matter. You may indict one in a milder spirit, that shall pluck out its sting.
I can.
You must.
I can.
You shall.
I will, if 'tis your pleasure.
Well replied. I now see plainly you have found your wits, and are a sober, metamorphosed woman.
I am indeed.
I know it. I can read you. There is a true contrition in your looks. Yours is no penitence in masquerade. You are not playing on me.
Playing, sir?
You have found out the vanity of those things for which you lately sighed so deep.
I have, sir.
A dukedom. Pshaw! It is an idle thing.
I have begun to think so.
Aside.
That's a lie. Is not this tranquil and retired spot more rich in real pleasures than a palace?
I like it infinitely.
Aside.
That's another. The mansion's small, 'tis true, but very snug.
Exceedingly snug.
The furniture not splendid, but then all useful.
All exceedingly useful. There's not a piece on it but serves 20 purposes.
Aside.
And though we're seldom plagued by visitors, we have the best of company, ourselves. Nor, whilst our limbs are full of active youth, need we loll in a carriage to provoke a lazy circulation of the blood.
Takes her arm and walks about.
When walking is a nobler exercise.
More wholesome, too.
And far less dangerous.
That's certain.
Then for servants, all agree, they are the greatest plagues on earth.
No doubt on it.
Who then? that has a taste for happiness would live in a large mansion only fit to be an habitation for the winds, keep gilded ornaments for dust and spiders, see everybody, care for nobody, when they could live as we do.
Who indeed?
Here we want nothing.
Nothing. Yes, one thing.
Indeed. What's that?
You will be angry.
Nay, not if it be a reasonable thing.
What wants the bird who, from his wiry prison, sings to the passing travellers of air a wistful note, that she were with them, sir?
Humph! What, your liberty?
Aside.
I see it now.
'Twere a pity in such a paradise I should be caged.
Why, whither would you, wife?
Only to taste the freshness of the air that breathes a wholesome spirit from without, and weave a chaplet for you of those flowers that throw their perfume through my window bars, and then I will return, sir.
You are free.
Juliana crosses left. Duke takes her hand.
But use your freedom wisely.
Doubt me not, sir.
Aside and exit left.
I'll use it quickly, too.
But I do doubt you. There is a lurking devil in her eye that plays at Bo Peep there in spite of her. Her anger is but smothered, not burnt out, and ready give it vent to blaze again. You have your liberty, but I shall watch you closely, lady, and see that you abuse it not.
Exit left. End of Act 2. Act 3 of The Honeymoon by John Tobin. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 3, Scene 1. An inn. Rolando sitting at table, with wine, 2 chairs.
Sdeath, that a reasonable thinking man should leave his friend and bottle for a woman. Here is the Count now, who, in other matters, has a true judgment, only seethe his blood with a full glass beyond his usual stint, and woman like a wildfire runs through him. Immortal man is but a shuttlecock, and wine and women are the battledores that keep him going. What, Eugenio?
Enter Zamora, as Eugenio.
Your pleasure, sir.
I am alone, and wish you to finish the story you began. It is mournful, yet 'tis pleasing.
It was indeed a melancholy tale from which I learnt it.
Lives it with you still?
Faintly, as would an ill-remembered dream, sir. Yet, so far I remember...
Aside.
Now, my heart, 'twas of a gentleman, a soldier, sir, of a brave spirit, and his outward form a frame to set a soul in. He had a page, just such a boy as I, a faithful stripling, who, out of pure affection and true love, followed his fortune to the wars.
Why, this is our own history.
So far indeed, but not beyond it bore resemblance, sir. For in the sequel, so, sir, the story ran, turned out to be a woman.
Oh, a woman?
Yes, sir, a woman.
Live with him a 12-month, and he not find the secret out?
'Twas strange.
Strange? 'Twas impossible. At the first blush, a palpable and most transparent lie. Why, if the soldier had been such an ass, she had herself betrayed it.
Yet 'tis said she kept it to her death, that oft as love would heave the struggling passion to her lips, shame set a seal upon them. Thus long time she nourished in this strife of love and modesty an inward, slow-consuming martyrdom, till, in the sight of him her soul most cherished, like flowers that on a river's margin, fading through lack of moisture, drop into the stream. So, sinking in his arms, her parting breath revealed her story.
You have told it well, boy.
I feel it deeply, sir. I knew the lady.
Knew her? You don't believe it?
What regards her death I will not vouch for, but the rest, her hopeless love, her silent patience, the struggle twixt her passion and her pride, I was a witness to. Indeed, her story is a most true one.
She should not have died. A wench like this were worth a soldier's love. And were she living now...
Enter Count. Left. Zamora, aside.
'Tis well.
Rolando crosses to Count.
Strange things have happened since we parted, Captain. I must away tonight.
Tonight? And whither?
'Tis yet a secret. Thus much you shall know. If a short 50 miles you'll bear me company, you shall see...
What?
A woman tamed.
No more. I'll go 100. Do you know the lady?
What think you of our new-made Duchess?
She? What mortal man has undertaken her? Perhaps the keeper of the beast, the fellow that puts his head into the lion's mouth, or else some tiger-tamer to a nabob.
Who but her husband?
With what weapons?
Words.
With words? Why, then, he must invent a language which yet the learned have no glimpses of. Fasting and fustigation may do something. I've heard that death will quiet some of them. But words, mere words, cooled by the breath of man? He may preach tame a howling wilderness, silence a full-mouthed battery with snowballs, quench fire with oil, with his repelling breath puff back the northern blast, whistle against thunder. These things are feasible. But still a woman with the 9 parts of speech?
Crosses left.
You know him not.
I know the lady.
Yet I tell you he has the trick to draw the serpent's fang, and yet not spoil her beauty.
Could he discourse with fluent eloquence more languages than Babel sent abroad, the simple rhetoric of her mother tongue would pose him presently. For woman's voice sounds like a fiddle in a concert, always the shrillest, if not the loudest, instrument. But we shall see.
Exit Count and the Rando left.
He was touched surely with the piteous tale which I delivered, and but that the Count prevented him, would have broken freely out into a full confession of his feeling towards such a woman as I painted to him. Why then, my boys habiliments, adieu! Henceforth, my woman's gear I'll trust to you.
Exit right. Scene 2. The Duke's Palace. A state chair. Center. Enter Campillo, the Duke's steward, and Pedro right.
But can no one tell the meaning of this fancy?
No, 'tis the Duke's pleasure, and that's enough for us. You shall hear in his own words. For reasons that I shall hereafter communicate, it is necessary that Jaquez should, in all things, at present, act as my representative. You will therefore command my household to obey him as myself, until you hear further from... Signed, Avranza.
Well, we must wait the upshot. But how bears Jaques his new dignity?
Like most men, in whom sudden fortune combats against long-established habit.
Laughing without, right upper exit.
By their merriment, this should be he.
Stand aside and let us note him.
Exit Pedro left. Enter Jaquez, right upper entrance, dressed as the Duke, followed by 6 attendants, who in vain endeavour to restrain their laughter.
Why, you ragamuffins, what do you titter at? Am I the first great man that has been made offhand by a tailor? Show your grinders again, or I'll hang you like onions, 50 on a rope. I can't think what they see ridiculous about me, except, indeed, that I feel as if I was in armour, and my sword has a trick of getting between my legs like a monkey's tail, as if it was determined to trip up my nobility. And now, villains, don't let me see you tip the wink to each other as I do the honours of my table. If I tell one of my best stories, don't any of you laugh before the jest comes out to show that you have heard it before. Take care that you don't call me by my Christian name and then pretend it was an accident. That shall be transportation at least. And when I drink a health to all friends, don't fancy that any of you are in the number.
Enter Pedro left.
Well, sir?
There is a lady without, presses vehemently to speak to your grace.
A lady?
Yes, your highness.
Is she young?
Very, your grace.
Handsome?
Beautiful, your highness.
Send her in.
Exit. Pedro left.
You may retire.
The attendants retire up the stage a little.
I'll finish my instructions by and by. Young and handsome. I'll attend to her business in propria persona. Your old and ugly ones I shall dispatch by deputy. Now to alarm her with my consequence, and then soothe her with my condescension. I must appear important, big as a country pedagogue when he enters the schoolroom with a hum, and terrifies the apple-munching urchins with the creaking of his shoes. I'll swell like a shirt blenching in a high wind, and look burly as a Sunday beadle when he has kicked down the unhallowed stall of a profane old apple-woman. Bring my chair of state. Hush!
The attendants place the state chair center. Enter Pedro and Juliana. Pedro goes to the other attendants.
I come, great Duke, for justice.
You shall have it. Of what do you complain?
My husband, sir.
I'll hang him instantly. What's his offence?
He has deceived me.
A very common case. Few husbands answer their wives' expectations.
He has abused your grace.
Indeed. If he has done that, he swings most loftily. But how, lady, how?
Shortly thus, sir, being no better than a low-born peasant, he has assumed your character and person.
Enter the Duke left.
Oh, you are here? This is he, my lord.
Crosses behind chair to right.
Indeed.
Aside.
Then I must tickle him. Why, fella, do you take this for an alehouse that you enter with such a swagger? Know you where you are, sir?
Aside.
The rogue reproves me well, I had forgot. Most humbly I entreat your grace's pardon for this unushered visit, but the fear of what this wayward woman might allege beyond the truth
I have spoken naught but truth,
has made me thus unmannerly.
'Tis well. You might have used more ceremony.
To Juliana.
Proceed.
This man, my lord, as I was saying, passing himself upon my inexperience, for the right owner of this sumptuous palace, obtained my slow consent to be his wife, and cheated by shameful perfidy me of my hopes, my father of his child.
Why, this is swindling. Obtaining another man's goods under false pretences. That is, if a woman be a good. That will make a very intricate point for the judges. Well, sir, what have you to say in your defence?
I do confess I put this trick upon her, and for my transient usurpation of your most noble person, with contrition, I bow me to the rigour of the law. But for the lady, sir, she can't complain.
How how not complain? To be thus vilely cozened, and not complain?
Peace, woman. Though justice be blind, she isn't deaf.
Aside.
He does it to the life. Had not her most exceeding pride been doting, she might have seen the difference at a glance between your grace and such a man as I am.
She might have seen that, certainly. Proceed.
Nor did I fall so much beneath her sphere, being what I am, as she had soared above it, had I been that which I have only feigned.
Yet you deceived her.
Let him answer that.
I did. Most men in something cheat their wives. Wives gull their husbands. 'Tis the course of wooing. Now, bating that my title and my fortune were evanescent, in all other things I acted like a plain and honest suitor. I told her she was fair, but very proud, that she had taste in music, but no voice, that she danced well, yet still might borrow grace from such or such a lady. To be brief, I praised her for no quality she had not, nor overprized the talents she possessed. Now, save in what I have before confessed, I challenge her worst spite to answer me, whither in all attentions, which a woman, a gentle and a reasonable woman, looks for, I have not to the height fulfilled, if not outgone, her expectations.
Why, if she has no cause of complaint since you were married...
I dare her to the proof on't.
Is it so, woman?
To Juliana.
I don't complain of what happened since. The man has made a tolerable husband, but for the monstrous cheat he put upon me, I claim to be divorced.
It cannot be.
Cannot, my lord?
No, you must live with him.
Never.
Or, if your grace will give me leave, we have been wedded yet a few short days. Let us wear out a month as man and wife. If at the end on't, with uplifted hands, morning and evening, and sometimes at noon, and bended knees, she doesn't plead more warmly than ere she prayed against stale virginity, to keep me for her husband.
If I do,
then let her will be done that seeks to part us.
I do implore your grace to let it stand upon that footing.
Well, it shall be so, with this proviso, that either of you are at liberty to hang yourselves in the meantime.
Rises. The attendants remove the chair back and exit. Upper right exit.
We thank your providence. Come, Juliana.
Well, there's my hand. A month soon past, and then... I am your humble servant, sir.
Forever.
Nay, I'll be hanged first.
That may do as well. Come, you'll think better on it.
By all.
No swearing.
No swearing.
We humbly take our leaves.
Exit Duke and Juliana left.
I begin to find, by the strength of my nerves and the steadiness of my countenance, that I was certainly intended for a great man. For what more does it require to be a great man than boldly to put on the appearance of it? How many sage politicians are there who can scarce comprehend the mystery of a mouse-trap? Valiant generals who wouldn't attack a bulrush unless the wind were in their favour, profound lawyers who would make excellent wig blocks, and skilful physicians whose knowledge extends no further than writing death warrants in Latin, and are shining examples that a man will never want gold in his pocket who carries plenty of brass in his face. It will be rather awkward, to be sure, to resign at the end of the month, But, like other great men in office, I must make the most of my time and retire with a good grace to avoid being turned out. As a well-bred dog always walks down the stairs when he sees preparations on foot for kicking him into the street.
Exit right. Scene 3. An inn. Enter Belshazzar, as having fallen from his horse, supported by Volante and the Count, and preceded by the hostess. Left.
This way if you please. Alas, poor gentleman.
Brings a chair.
How do you feel now, sir?
They sit him down.
I almost think my brains are where they should be. Confound the jade. Though they dance merrily to their own music.
Is the surgeon sent for?
Here he comes, sir.
Enter Lampeto. Left.
Is this the gentleman?
Advances towards Belshazzar.
I want to know, surgeon. All my bones are whole.
Pray take advice.
Doctor, I have doubts whether my soul be shaken from my body, else I am whole.
Then you are safe. Depend on't. Your soul and body are not yet divorced, though if they were, we have a remedy. Nor have you fractures, simple or compound, yet very feverish. I begin to fear some inward bruise. Very raging pulse. We must phlebotomize.
You won't. Already there is too little blood in these old veins to do my cause full justice.
Quick and feverish. He must lie down a little, for as yet his blood and spirits being all in motion, there is too great confusion in the symptoms to judge discreetly from.
I'll not lie down.
Nay, for an hour or so? Well, be it so.
I'll shew you to a chamber. This way if you please.
Exit all but Lampeto right.
It is the first patient, save the miller's mare and an old lady cat that has the physic, that I have touched these 6 weeks. Well, good hostess.
Re-enter hostess right.
How fares your guest?
He must not go tonight.
No, nor tomorrow.
Nor the next day neither.
Leave that to me.
He has no hurt, I fear.
None. But as you are his cook and I am his doctor, such things may happen. You must make him ill, and I must keep him so. For to say truth, 'tis the first biped customer I've handled this many a day. They fall but slowly in, like the subscribers to my work on fevers.
Hard times indeed. No business stirring my way.
So I should guess from your appearance, hostess. You look as if, for lack of company, you were obliged to eat up your whole larder.
Alas, 'tis so. Yet I contrive to keep my spirits up.
Yes, and your flesh too. Look at me.
Why, truly, you look half-starved.
Half-starved? I wish you'd tell me which half of me is fed. I show more points than an old horse that has been 3 weeks pounded. Yet I do all to tempt them into sickness. Have I not in the jaws of bankruptcy and to the desolation of my person painted my shop that it looks like a rainbow? New double gilt my pestle and my mortar, that some at a distance take it for the sun, emblazed in flaming letters o'er my door, each one a glorious constellation. Surgeon, apothecary, accoucheur, for midwife is grown vulgar, yet they ail not. Files and gallipots still keep their ranks, as if there was no cordial virtue in them. The healing chime of pulverizing drugs they shun as 'twere a tolling bell or death watch. I never give a dose or set a limb. But come, we must devise. We must devise how to make much of this same guest, sweet hostess.
You know I always make the most of them.
Spoke like an ancient tapstress. Come, let's in. And whilst I soothe my bowels with an omelette, for a nest of new-waked rooklings, hostess, they call for provender, and take a glass of thy Falernian, we will think of means. For though to cure men be beyond our skill, 'tis hard indeed if we can't keep them ill.
Exit right. Scene 4. The cottage. A table and 3 chairs. Enter the Duke, bringing in Juliana. Left.
Nay, no resistance. For a month at least, I am your husband.
True. And what's a husband?
Duke puts her over to the right.
Why, as some wives would metamorphose him, a very miserable ass indeed. Mere fuller's earth to bleach their spotted credit, a blotting paper to drink up their stains.
True, there are many such.
And there are men whom not a swelling lip or wrinkled brow, or the loud rattle of a woman's tongue, or what's more hard to parry, the warm close of lips that from the inmost heart of man plucks out his stern resolves, can move one jot from the determined purpose of his soul, or stir an inch from his prerogative, ere it be long. You'll dream of such a man.
Where waking shall I see him?
Look on me. Come to your chamber.
I won't be confined.
Won't? Say you so?
Well, then, I do request you won't confine me.
You'll leave me?
No, indeed. As there is truth in language, on my soul, I will not leave you.
You've deceived me once.
And therefore do not merit to be trusted, I do confess it. But, by all that's sacred, give me my liberty, and I will be a patient, drudging, most obedient wife.
Yes, but a grumbling one.
No, on my honour, I will do all as you ask, ere you have said it.
And with no secret murmur of your spirit?
With none, believe me.
Have a care, for if I catch you on the wing again, I'll clip you closer than a garden hawk, and put you in a cage where daylight comes not, where you may fret your pride against the bars until your heart break.
Knocking at the door.
See who's at the door.
She goes and opens it. Enter Lopez. Left.
My neighbor Lopez. Welcome, sir. My wife.
Introducing her.
A chair.
To Juliana. She brings a chair to Lopez and throws it down left.
Your pardon. You'll excuse her, sir. A little awkward, but exceeding willing. One for your husband.
She brings another chair and is going to throw it down as before, but the Duke, looking steadfastly at her, she desists and places it gently down beside him.
Pray, be seated, neighbor. Now you may serve yourself.
I thank you, sir. I'd rather stand.
I'd rather you should sit.
If you will have it so.
Aside.
Would I were dead.
She brings a chair and sits down right.
Though now I think again 'tis fit you stand, that you may be more free to serve our guest.
Even as you command.
Rises.
You will eat something.
To Lopez.
Not a morsel, thank ye.
Then you will drink. A glass of wine at least.
Well, I am warm with walking, and care not if I do taste your liquor.
You have some wine, wife?
I must e'en submit.
Exit right.
This visit, sir, is kind and neighbourly.
I came to ask a favour of you. We have today a sort of merrymaking on the green hard by. 'Twere too much to call it a dance, and as you are a stranger here...
Your patience for a moment.
Re-enter Juliana, with the horn of liquor right. Duke, taking it.
What have we here?
'Tis wine. You called for wine.
And did I bid you bring it in a nutshell?
Nay, there is plenty.
I can't suffer it. You must excuse me.
To Lopez.
When friends drink with us, 'tis usual, love, to bring it in a jug, or else they may suspect we grudge our liquor.
I shall remember.
Exit right.
I am ashamed to give so much trouble.
No trouble. She must learn her duty, sir. I'm only sorry you should be kept waiting. But you were speaking.
As I was saying, it being the conclusion of our vintage, we have assembled the lads and lasses of the village.
Re-enter Juliana.
Now we shall do. Why, what the devil's this?
Wine, sir.
This wine? 'Tis foul as ditch water. Did you shake the cask?
What shall I say?
Aside.
Yes, sir.
You did.
I did.
I thought so. Why, do you think, my love, that wine is physic, that must be shook before 'tis swallowed? Come, try again.
I'll go no more.
Puts down the wine on the ground.
You won't?
I won't.
Showing the key.
You won't? You had forgot yourself, my love?
Well, I obey.
Takes up the wine, and exit right.
Was ever man so plagued? You have a wife, no doubt, of more experience, who should not by her awkwardness disgrace her husband thus. This 'tis to marry an inexperienced girl. I'm ashamed to try your patience, sir. But women, like watches, must be set with care to make them go well.
Enter Juliana right.
Aye, this looks well.
Pouring it out.
The heavens be praised.
Come, sir, your judgment.
'Tis excellent. But, as I was saying, today we have some country pastimes on the green. Will it please you both to join our simple recreations?
We will attend you. Come, renew your draught, sir.
We shall expect you presently. Till then, good even, sir.
Good even, neighbor.
Exit Lopez, left.
Go, and make you ready.
I take no pleasure in these rural sports.
Then you shall go to please your husband. Hold, I'll have no glittering gewgaws stuck about you, to stretch the gaping eyes of idiot wonder, and make men stare upon a piece of earth, as on the star-wrought firmament. No feathers to wave as streamers to your vanity, nor cumbrous silk, that with its rustling sound make proud the flesh that bears it. She's adorned amply, that in her husband's eye looks lovely, the truest mirror that an honest wife can see her beauty in.
I shall observe, sir.
I should like to see you in the dress I last presented you.
The blue one, sir?
No, love, the white, thus modestly attired, and half-blown rose stuck in thy braided hair, with no more diamonds than those eyes are made of, no deeper rubies than compose thy lips, nor pearls more precious than inhabit them, with the pure red and white, which in that same hand which blends the rainbow mingles in thy cheeks. This well-proportioned form, think not I flatter, in graceful motion to harmonious sounds, and thy free tresses dancing in the wind, thou'lt fix as much observance as chaste dames can meet without a blush.
Exit Juliana, door in slat.
I'll trust her with these bumpkins. There no coxcomb shall buzz his fulsome praises in her ear, and swear she has in all things, save myself, a most especial taste. No meddling gossip, who, having clawed or cuddled into bondage the thing misnamed a husband privately, instructs less daring spirits to revolt, shall from the fund of her experience teach her when lordly man can best be made a fool of. Yet that which would have obedient wives beware of meddling woman's kind, officious care.
End of Act 3. Act 4 of The Honeymoon by John Tobin. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 4 of The Honeymoon. Scene 1. The Inn. Enter Lamphead first and hostess second. Right.
Nay, another fortnight.
You can't be. The man's as well as I am. Have some mercy. He hath been here almost 3 weeks already.
Well then, a week.
We may detain him a week.
Enter Belshazzar behind. From door in flat. Right, in his nightgown, with a drawn sword.
You talk now like a reasonable hostess that sometimes has a reckoning with her conscience.
He still believes he has an inward bruise.
I would to heaven he had, or that he'd slipped his shoulder blade or broke a leg or two. Not that I bear his person any malice, or luxed an arm, or even sprained his ankle.
Aye, broken anything except his neck.
However, for a week I'll manage him, though he has the constitution of a horse. A farrier should prescribe for him.
Aside.
A farrier?
Tomorrow we'll phlebotomize again. Next day my new invented patent draft. Then I'll have some bills prepared. On Thursday we'll throw in the bark. On Friday...
Belshazzar, coming forward, center.
Well, sir, on Friday? What on Friday? Come.
Discovered.
Mercy, noble sir.
They fall on their knees.
We crave your mercy.
On your knees? 'Tis well. Pray, for your time is short.
Nay, do not kill us.
You have been tried, condemned, and only wait for execution. Which shall I begin with?
The lady, by all means, sir.
To the hostess.
Come, prepare.
Have pity on the weakness of my sex.
Tell me, thou quaking mountain of gross flesh, tell me, and in a breath, how many poisons, if you attempt it?
To Lamphead, who is endeavoring to make off, left.
You have cooked up for me.
None, as I hope for mercy.
Is not thy wine a poison?
No, indeed, sir. 'Tis not, I own, of the first quality. But...
What?
I always give short measure, sir, and ease my conscience that way.
Ease your conscience. I'll ease your conscience for you.
Mercy, sir.
Rise, if thou canst, and hear me.
Your command, sir.
If in 5 minutes all things are prepared for my departure, you may yet survive.
It shall be done in less.
Away, thou lumpfish.
Exit hostess.
So now comes my turn. 'Tis all over with me. There's dagger, rope, and rat's bane in his looks.
And now thou sketch and outline of a man, thou thing that has no shadow in the sun, thou eel in a consumption, eldest born of death on famine, thou anatomy of a starved pilchard.
I do confess my leanness. I am spare, and therefore spare me.
Why wouldst thou have made me a thoroughfare for thy whole shop to pass through?
And you know must live.
Yes, he must die too.
For my patient's sake.
I'll send you to the major part of them. The window, sir, is open. Come, prepare.
Pray consider, I may hurt someone in the street.
Why, then I'll rattle thee to pieces in a dice-box, or grind thee in a coffee mill to powder, for thou must sup with Pluto. So, make ready, whilst I with this good small sword for a lancet let thy starved spirit out, for blood thou hast none, and nail thee to the wall, where thou shalt look like a dried beetle with a pin stuck through him.
Consider my poor wife.
Thy wife?
My wife, sir.
Hast thou dared think of matrimony too? No flesh upon thy bones, and take a wife?
I took a wife because I wanted flesh. I have a wife and 3 angelic babes, who by those looks are well nigh fatherless.
Well, well, your wife and children shall plead for you. Come, come, the pills. Where are the pills? Produce them.
Here is the box.
Were it Pandora's, and each single pill had 10 diseases in it, you should take them.
What? All?
Aye, all, and quickly too. Come, sir, begin.
Lampetto takes one.
That's well. Another.
1's a dose.
Proceed, sir.
What will become of me? Let me go home and set my shop to rights, and like immortal Caesar, die with decency.
Away, and thank thy lucky star I have not betrayed thee in thy own mortar, or exposed thee for a large specimen of the lizard genus.
Would I were one, for they can feed on air.
Home, sir, and be more honest.
If I am not, I'll be more wise at least.
Exit left. Lampetto first. Belshazzar, threatening him, second. Scene 2. A wood. A bank on the right. Second entrance. Enter Zamora in woman's apparel. Veiled. Right.
Now, all good spirits that delight to prosper the undertakings of chaste love, assist me. Yonder he comes. I'll rest upon this bank. If I can move his curiosity, the rest may follow.
She reclines on the bank, pretending to sleep. Enter Rolando left.
What ho! Eugenio! He is so little apt to play the truant. I fear some mischief has befallen him.
Sees Zamora.
What have we here? A woman. By this light, or rather by this darkness, 'tis a woman. Doing no mischief, only dreaming of it. It is the stillest, most inviting spot. We are alone. If, without waking her, I could just brush the fresh dew from her lips, as the first blush of morn salutes the rose. Hold, Rolando. Art thou not forsworn? If thou but touchest even the finger's end of fickle woman, I have sworn an oath that female flesh and blood shall ne'er provoke me. That is, in towns or cities. I remember there was a special clause, or should have been, touching a woman sleeping in a wood. For though to the strict letter of the law we bind our neighbours, yet in our own cause we give liberal and large construction to its free spirit. Therefore, a gentle lady...
She starts, as if awakening.
Hush! She prevents me. Pardon, gentle fair one, that I have broke thus rudely on your slumbers. But for the interruption I have caused, you see me ready as a gentleman to make you all amends.
To a stranger?
Coming down on right.
You offer fairly, sir, but from a stranger.
What shall I say? Not so. You are no stranger.
Do you then know me?
Aside.
Heaven forbid.
Too well.
How, sir?
I've known you, lady, above a 12-month, and from report loved you an age before. Why, is it possible you never heard of my sad passion?
Never.
You amaze me.
Aside.
What can he mean?
The sonnets I have written to your beauty have kept a paper mill in full employ, And then the letters I have given by dozens unto your chambermaid. But I begin by this unlooked-for strangeness you put on, almost to think she ne'er delivered them.
Indeed, she never did.
Aside.
He does but jest.
Aside.
I'll try. Perhaps you misdirected them. What superscription did you put upon them?
What superscription? None.
None?
Not a tittle. Think ye, fair lady, I have no discretion? I left a blank, that, should they be mislaid, or lost, you know.
And in your sonnets, sir, what title was I honoured by?
100. All but your real one.
Quickly.
What is that?
She has me. Faith, lady, you have run me to a stand. I know you not, never before beheld you, yet I'm in love with you extempore, and though by a tremendous oath I'm bound never to hold communion with your sex, yet has your beauty and your modesty. Come, let me see your face.
Nay, that would prove I had no modesty, perhaps nor beauty. Besides, I too have taken a rash oath, never to love but one man.
At a time?
One at all times.
You're right. I am the man.
You are indeed, sir.
How? Now you are jesting.
No, on my soul. I have sent up to heaven a sacred and irrevocable vow, and if, as some believe, there does exist a spirit in the waving of the woods, life in the leaping torrent, in the hills and seated rocks, a contemplating soul brooding on all things round them, to all nature I here renew the solemn covenant, never to love but you.
And who are you?
In birth and breeding, sir, a gentlewoman. And, but I know the high pitch of your mind from such low thoughts maintains a towering distance, I would add rich. Yet is it no misfortune. Virtuous, I will say boldly. Of my shape, your eyes are your informers. For my face, I cannot think of that so very meanly, for you have often praised it.
I? Unveil, then, that I may praise it once again.
Enter Valente left.
Not now, sir. We are observed.
Crosses left. Rolando, seeing Valente.
Confusion. This she-devil. 'Tis time, then, to redeem my character.
Aloud.
I tell you, lady, you must be mistaken. I tell you, 'tis not I.
Aside.
Here, on this spot.
I humbly beg your pardon.
Well, you have it. Remember?
Trust me.
Exit. Left.
A most strange adventure. Pray, lady, do you know who that importune woman is that just left us?
No, senor.
They walk by each other, he whistling, and she humming a tune.
Have you any business with me?
I wanted to see you, that's all. They tell me you are the valiant captain that has turned a woman-hater, as the boy left off eating nuts because he met with a sour one.
Would I were in a Freemason's lodge.
Why there?
They never admit woman.
It must be a dull place.
Exceedingly quiet. How shall I shake off this gadfly? Did you ever see a man mad?
Never.
I shall be mad presently.
I hope it won't be long first. I can wait for an hour or so.
I tell you, I shall be mad.
Will it be of the merry sort?
Stark, staring, maliciously, mischievously mad.
Nay, then I can't think of leaving you, for you'll want a keeper.
I would thou hadst one. If I were valiant now, to beat a woman.
Well, why don't you begin? Pshaw! You have none of the right symptoms. You don't stare with your eyes, nor foam with the mouth. Mad indeed! You're as much in your sober senses as I am.
Then I am mad incurably. Will you go forward?
No.
Backward?
No.
Will you stay where you are?
No, rank and file, Captain. I mean to be one of your company.
Impossible. You're not tall enough for anything but a drummer. and then the noise of your tongue would drown the stoutest sheepskin in Christendom.
Can you find no employment for me?
No. You are fit for nothing but to beat hemp in a workhouse, to the tuneful accompaniment of a beadle's whip.
I would be content to be so employed if I was sure you would reap the full benefit of my labor.
Nay, then I'll go to work another way with you. What ho, Eugenio! Sergeant, corporal!
Nay, then 'tis time to scamper. He's bringing his whole regiment on me.
Exit Valente right. Rolando left. Scene 3. A rural scene. Music. A dance of rustics. Lopez, seeing the Duke and Juliana approach.
Hold! Our new guests.
Enter the Duke and Juliana right.
Neighbours, you are kindly welcome. Wilt please you to join the dance, or be mere gazers?
I am for motion, if this lady here will trip it with me.
My wife, sir, at your service. If it be no offence, I'll take a turn with yours.
By all means. Lady, by your leave.
Salutes Lopez's wife.
A good example.
Attempts to salute Juliana. She boxes his ears.
Badly followed, sir.
Zounds! What a tingler!
Are you not ashamed? My wife is young, sir. She'll know better soon than to return a courtesy so tartly. Yours has been better tutored.
Salutes her.
Tutored? Zounds! I only meant to ape your husband, lady. He kisses where he pleases.
So do I, sir. Not where I have no pleasure.
Aside.
Excellent.
My lips are not my own. My hand is free, sir.
Free? I'll be sworn it is.
Will it please you take it?
Excuse her rustic breeding. She is young, but you will find her nimble in the dance.
Come then, let's have a stirring roundelay.
Music. They dance. Juliana, at first, perversely, but afterwards, entering into the spirit of it, and then go off with their partners. Right upper exit. End of Act 4. Act 5 of The Honeymoon by John Tobin. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 5, Scene 1, The Cottage. 2 chairs. Juliana sitting. At her needle, the Duke steals in behind, through door in flat.
Come, no more work tonight.
Sits by her.
It is the last that we shall spend beneath this humble roof. Our fleeting month of trial being past, tomorrow you are free.
Nay, now you mock me, and turn my thoughts upon my former follies. You know that to be mistress of the world I would not leave you.
No?
No, on my honour.
I think you like me better than you did. Yet 'tis natural. Come, be honest. You have a sort of hankering, no, wild wish, or vehement desire, yet a slight longing, a simple preference, if you had your choice, to be a duchess rather than the wife of a low peasant.
No, indeed, you wrong me.
I marked you closely at the palace, wife. In the full tempest of your speech, your eye would glance to take the room's dimensions, and pause upon each ornament, and then, there would break from you a half-smothered sigh, which spoke distinctly, "These should have been mine." And therefore, though with a well-tempered spirit, you have some secret swellings of the heart, when these things rise to your imagination.
No, indeed. Sometimes in my dreams I own, you know we cannot help our dreams.
What then?
Why, I confess that sometimes in my dreams a noble house and splendid equipage, diamonds and pearls and gilded furniture will glitter like an empty pageant by me, and then I am apt to rise a little feverish, but never do my sober waking thoughts, as I'm a woman worthy of belief, wander to such forbidden vanities. Yet, after all, it was a scurvy trick, your palace and your pictures and your plate, your fine plantations, your delightful gardens, that were a second paradise for fools, and then your grotto, so divinely cool, your Gothic summer house, and Roman temple. 'Twould puzzle much an antiquarian to find out their remains.
No more of that.
You had a dozen spacious vineyards, too. Alas, the grapes are sour. And above all, the Barbary courser that was breaking for me.
Nay, you shall ride him yet.
Indeed.
Believe me, we must forget these things.
They are forgot, and by this kiss we'll think of them no more, but when we want a theme to make us merry.
It was an honest one, and spoke thy soul, and by the fresh lip and unsullied breath, which joined to give it sweetness.
Enter Belshazzar left. Juliana crosses center.
How, my father?
Signor Balthazar, you are welcome, sir, to our poor habitation.
Welcome, villain. I come to call your dukeship to account, and to reclaim my daughter.
Duke, aside.
You will find her reclaimed already, or I have lost my pains.
Let me come at him.
Patience, my dear father.
Nay, give him room. Put up your weapon, sir. 'Tis the worst argument a man can use, so let it be the last. As for your daughter, she passes by another title here, in which your whole authority is sunk. My lawful wife.
Lawful? His lawful wife? I shall go mad. Did not you basely steal her under a vile pretense?
What I have done, I'll answer to the law. Of what do you complain?
Why, are you not a most notorious, self-confessed impostor?
True. I am somewhat dwindled from the state in which you lately knew me, nor alone should my exceeding change provoke your wonder. You'll find your daughter is not what she was.
How, Juliana?
'Tis indeed most true. I left you, sir, a froward, foolish girl, full of capricious thoughts and fiery spirits, which, without judgment, I would vent on all. But I have learned this truth indelibly, that modesty, in deed, in word, and thought, is the prime grace of woman, and with that, more than by frowning looks and saucy speeches, she may persuade the man that rightly loves her, whom she was never intended to command.
Amazement! Why, this metamorphosis exceeds his own. What spells, what cunning witchcraft has he employed?
None. He has simply taught me to look into myself. His powerful rhetoric hath with strong influence impressed my heart, and made me see at length the thing I have been, and what I am, sir.
Are you then content to live with him?
Content? I am most happy.
Can you forget your crying wrongs?
Not quite, sir. They sometimes serve to make us merry with.
How like a villain he abused your father.
You will forgive him that, for my sake.
Never.
Why then, 'tis plain you seek your own revenge, and not your daughter's happiness.
No matter. I charge you on your duty as my daughter. Follow me.
On a wife's obedience, I charge you, stir not.
You, sir, are my father. At the bare mention of that hallowed name, 1,000 recollections rise within me. To witness you have ever been a kind one. This is my husband, sir.
Thy husband, well...
'Tis fruitless now to think upon the means he used. I am irrevocably his. And when he plucked me from my parent tree to graft me on himself, he gathered with me my love, my duty, my obedience, and by adoption I am bound as strictly to do his reasonable bidding now as once to follow yours.
Aside.
Most excellent.
Yet I will be revenged.
To Belshazzar.
You would have justice?
I will.
Then forthwith meet me at the Duke's.
Crosses left.
What pledge have I for your appearance there?
Your daughter, sir. Nay, go, my Juliana. 'Tis my request. Within an hour at farthest, I shall expect to see you at the palace.
Come, Juliana. You shall find me there, sir.
Look not thus sad at parting, Juliana. All will run smooth yet.
Come.
Heaven grant it may.
The Duke shall right us all without delay.
Exit. Belshazzar and Juliana left. Duke right. Scene 2. A wood. Enter Valente and 4 of the Count's servants. Masked left.
That's he stealing down the pathway yonder. Put on your visors and remember, not a word.
They retire left. Enter Rolando right.
Now I shall be even with your hemp beating.
Exit left.
Here I am, come to be a woman's toy, and, spite of sober reason, play the fool. 'Tis a most grievous thing that a man's blood will ever thwart his noble resolution, and make him deaf to other argument than the quick beating of his pulse.
They come forward and surround him.
Hey day! Why, what are these? If it be no offence, may I inquire your business?
They hold a pistol to each side of his head.
Oh, now I can guess it. Pray, reserve your fire.
They proceed to bind him.
What can this mean? Mute, gentlemen, all mute? Pray, were ye born of woman? Still ye are mute. Why, then, perhaps you mean to strangle me.
They bind him to a tree, left upper entrance, and go off.
Oh, gone? Why, what the devil can this mean? It is the oddest end to an amour.
Enter Valente and 3 other women.
This is the gentleman we're looking for.
Looking for me? You are mistaken, ladies. What can you want with such a man as I am? I am poor, ladies, miserably poor. I am old, too, though I look young. Quite old, the ruins of a man. Nay, come not near me. I would for you I were a porcupine, and every quill a death.
By my faith, he rails valiantly, and has a valiant sword, too, if he could draw it. Was ever poor gentleman so near a rope without being able to hang himself?
I could bear to be bound in every limb, so ye were tongue-tied, that I could cast out devils to torment you, though ye would be a match for a whole legion.
Come, come.
They pinch and tickle him.
Oh, nay, ladies, have some mercy, and drive me not to desperation, though, like a bear, I'm fixed to the stake, and must endure the baiting.
They make a circle and dance around him. Rolando, after repeated struggles, disengages his right arm, with which he draws his sword and cuts the ropes that bind him.
The bear's breaking his chain. 'Tis time to run then.
The women run off left. He extricates himself and comes forward.
Oh, so they are gone. What a damnable condition I am in. The devils that worried St. Anthony were a tame set to these. Oh, my blood boils. By all that's mischievous, I'll carbonado the first woman I meet. If I do not, well, I'll marry her. Here's one already.
Enter Zamora, veiled right.
I've kept my word, sir.
So much the worse, for I must keep my oath. Are you prepared to die?
Not by your hand. I hardly think when you have seen my face you'll be my executioner.
Thy face? What? Are you handsome? Don't depend on that. If those rosy fingers, like Aurora's lifting the veil from day, should usher forth twin sparkling stars to light men to their ruin, balm-breathing lips to seal destruction on, an alabaster forehead hung with locks that glitter like Hyperion's, and a cheek where the live crimson steals upon the white, you have no hope of mercy.
Zamora, unveiling.
Now then, strike.
Eugenio?
Your poor boy, sir.
How? A woman? A real woman? What a dull ass have I been. Nay, 'tis so.
You see the sister of that scornful lady, who with such fixed disdain refused your love, which, like an arrow failing of its aim, glancing from her impenetrable heart, struck deep in mine. In a romantic hour, unknown to all, I left my father's house and followed you to the wars. What has since happened, it better may become you to remember than me to utter.
I am caught at last. Caught by a woman. Excellently caught. Hampered beyond redemption. Why, thou witch, that in a brace of minutes hath produced a greater revolution in my soul than thy whole sex could compass? Thou enchantress, prepare, for I must kill thee certainly.
Throws away his sword.
But it shall be with kindness, my poor boy.
They embrace.
I'll marry thee tonight. Yet have a care, for I shall love thee most unmercifully.
And as a wife, should you grow weary of me, I'll be your page again.
Will to your father.
Alas, I fear I have offended him beyond the reach of pardon.
Think not so. In the full flood of joy at your return, he'll drown his anger, and absolving tears shall warmly welcome his poor wanderer home. What shall they say to me? Why, they may say, and truly, that I made a silly vow, but was not quite so foolish as to keep it.
Exit left. Scene 3, the Duke's palace. Enter Belshazzar and Juliana, the Count, and Volente, preceded by Pedro, right.
You'll tell his highness I'm waiting for him.
What name?
No matter. Tell him an old man who has been basely plundered of his child, and has performed a weary pilgrimage in search of justice, hopes to find it here.
I will deliver this.
Exit Pedro, left upper entrance.
And he shall write me, or I will make his dukedom ring so loud with my great wrongs that...
Pray be patient, sir.
Where is your husband?
He will come, no doubt.
I'll pawn my life for his appearance quickly.
Enter Pedro, left upper entrance.
What news, sir?
The Duke will see you presently.
'Tis well. Has there been a man here to seek him lately?
None, sir.
A tall, well-looking man enough, though a rank knave, dressed in a peasant's garb.
There has been no such person.
No, nor will be. It was a trick to steal off quietly and get the start of justice. He has reached, ere this, the nearest seaport, or inhabits one of his air-built castles.
Trumpets and kettle drums, left upper entrance.
Stand aside.
Into the Duke, superbly dressed, preceded by Jacques, followed by attendants, and 6 ladies.
Now, sir, your business with me?
How?
Amazement!
I hear you would have audience.
Exactly my manner.
Of the Duke, sir.
I am the Duke.
The jest is somewhat stale, sir.
You'll find it true.
Indeed.
Nobody doubted my authority.
Aside.
Be still, my heart.
I think you would not trifle with me now.
I am the Duke Aranza.
'Tis e'en so.
To Belshazzar.
And what's my greater pride? This lady's husband.
Crosses to Juliana, takes her hand, and leads her left centre.
Whom, having honestly redeemed my pledge, I thus take back again. You now must see the drift of what I have been lately acting, and what I am. And though, being a woman giddy with youth and unrestrained fancy, the domineering spirit of her sex I have rebuked too sharply, yet 'twas done, as skilful surgeons cut beyond the wound, to make the cure complete.
You have done most wisely, and all my anger dies in speechless wonder.
So does all my greatness.
What says my Juliana?
I am lost too in admiration, sir. My fearful thoughts rise on trembling wing to that rash height whence, growing dizzy once, I fell to earth. Yet since your goodness, for the second time, will lift me, though unworthy, to that pitch of greatness, there to hold a constant flight, I will endeavour so to bear myself that in the world's eye and my friends' observance, and, what's far dearer, your most precious judgment, I may not shame your dukedom.
Bravely spoken. Why, now you shall have rank and equipage, servants, for you can now command yourself, glorious apparel, not to swell your pride, but to give lustre to your modesty. All pleasures, all delights that noble dames warm their chaste fancies with, in full abundance, shall flow upon you, and it shall go hard, but you shall ride the Barbary courser too. Count, you have kept my secret, and I thank you.
Your grace has reason, for in keeping that, I well nigh lost my mistress.
To Belshazzar.
On your promise I now may claim her, sir.
What says my girl?
Well, since my time has come, sir.
Take her then.
But who comes yonder?
'Sdeath! Why, 'tis Rolando.
But that there hangs a woman on his arm. I'd swear 'twas he.
Nay, 'tis the gentleman.
Then have the poles met?
Oh, no. Only 2 of the planets have jostled each other. Venus has had too much attraction for Mars.
Enter Rolando and Zamora Vale. All laugh.
Why, Captain!
Senor Rolando.
Rolando, after they have laughed some time.
Nay, 'tis a woman, and one that has a soul, too. I'll be bound for't.
He must be condemned to her for some offence, as a truant horse is tied to a log, or a great schoolboy carries his own rod to the place of execution.
All laugh.
Laugh till your lungs crack. 'Tis a woman still.
I'll not believe it till I see her face.
It is some boy dressed up to cozen us.
'Twas a boy dressed up to cozen me. Suffice it, sirs, that being well convinced, in what I lately was a stubborn skeptic, that women may be reasonable creatures, and finding that your grace, in one fair instance, has wrought a wondrous reformation in them, I am resolved to marry.
They all laugh.
For 'tis odds, our joint endeavours labouring to that end, that in another century or 2 they may become endurable. What say you?
To the Duke.
Have I your free consent?
Most certainly.
To the Count.
Yours, sir?
Most readily.
To Belshazzar.
And yours?
Most heartily.
He does not ask mine.
Add but your blessing, sir, and we are happy. What think you of my page?
Zamora unveils and kneels to Belshazzar.
How?
Zamora!
Your daughter, sir, who, trembling at your feet,
crosses to Belshazzar.
Come to my heart. You knew how deeply you were rooted there, or scarce had ventured such a frolic.
That, sir, should have prevented me.
There. She is yours, sir, if you are still determined.
Fixed as fate. Nor in so doing do I change my mind. I swore to wed no woman. She's an angel.
Aye, so are all women before marriage, and that's the reason their husbands so soon wish them in heaven afterwards.
Those who are tartly tongued, but are example, this truth shall manifest. A gentle wife is still the sterling comfort of man's life. To fools a torment, but a lasting boon to those who wisely keep their honeymoon.
End of Act 5. End of the honeymoon.